right, now what I'd like to do is play a little game with you. And the purpose of this game is to find out what you want to learn. I can speak about nonviolent communication nonstop for at least 36 hours, and you've told me you don't want to be here for 36 hours. So what I would like you to do is to play this little game with me. When I ask you to, I would like you to write down a clear, succinct statement of what you want to learn. So by clear and distinct, I mean, I want to learn NVC. That's not going to help us out very much. But I want to know how to use NVC at work. I want to know how to deal with anger. I want to know why communicating with my spouse is so difficult. So something really meaty. And the fewer words you express your request, the more powerful it's going to be. So any questions about what I'm going to ask you to do in terms of coming up with an answer to the question, what do you want to learn today? Great, okay. So I'm going to pass out these cards now. And I want you to be thinking about the question that you want to ask, or the topic, subject that you want to learn about while I'm doing this, and while I'm giving you the second set of instructions. All right, so on one side you're going to write down your question. Don't write it down now, so that you can pay attention to what can be kind of confusing. So I want you to draw a grid like this one on the back side of the card. One side's your question, the other side is this grid. And then once you have your question, everybody has their question, I'm going to ask you to stand up and find a partner. And once you find a partner, decide who's going to be the A partner and who's going to be the B partner. And then decide among yourselves whether the A partner or the B partner will go first. Okay? So what I want you to do, and I don't want you to take more than a minute to do this little exercise with your partner. You're going to read your question to each other. And then between the two of you, you're going to divide the number 7 between the two cards using whole numbers. So you won't be able to do, like the thing where, oh, well, I like your question and you like my question. Let's give us 3.5 each. No, whole numbers. How important is the question to the two of you? Okay, so you talk it over, you come to a decision, you write down 3 on one card, 4 on another, or 7 on one card, or 1 on the other, but you're dividing the number 7 between 2 cards with whole numbers. Once you've done that, then give them your card, and you take their card, and you go and you find another partner, and you do the same thing. And you'll keep doing that until that card that you have in your hand, remember, it's not your card anymore, the card that you have in your hand has 5 numbers on it. Each of place on this grid is complete, and you've got a number. So once you've done that, sit down so people will know that you're not available for your partnering, and then total the number of points that the card you have in your hand has. Okay. So if you happen to wind up with one that everybody really loved, it might have 7 in each area for a total of 35. And that's why I call the game of 35. That really happens, by the way. So once everybody's sitting down, then I'm going to start with 35, and then 34, and then 33. And if I happen to come up with a number, when I come up with a number that matches the number on your card, just for fun, because we're trying to build up some energy here. It takes a lot of energy to learn. So just for fun, say, I got 35. Okay, would you be willing to do that? Can I hear somebody say that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I got 35! Just like that! Just like that. All right.
I want to say bingo!
You can say bingo. That's okay. So a little enthusiasm, just to get your energy up, because you're going to learn a lot more if your energy level is high. All right, so who can tell me what the instructions are?
I. So what's going to happen is I'm going to write a question on the back here, and then I'm going to go and meet someone else that's got a question on their thing. We're going to tell each other our questions, and then we're going to say out of 7, but we're only allowed 3.5 each, or can each question have 7?
Each question has 7 points. Each card.
Yes.
How to say that? We have 2 cards. You and I are partners.
Yeah.
Okay. So I looked at your question. You looked at my question, and we're going to decide between the 2 of us,
How much of the 7
how
is
many
allocated?
each card gets.
Only out of 7, not 14.
Yeah.
Not 14, just down to 7,
All right.
and not fractions. Whole numbers only.
Yes.
So if I want a 7,
Mhm.
because I think my question's worth a 7,
Then the other one
she
has
doesn't
0.
think it's worth anything,
Then you negotiate.
then we say, okay, we'll have to be in the middle of 3, okay with you. That's what we're...
Yeah,
Okay.
right. And here's what I want you to do while you're doing this. Notice how you show up. Are you being nice and kind and going with what the other person has in mind because you want to be liked? Or are you truly being intellectually curious about what it is you want to learn? One of the things that we're going to be talking about is the power of requesting what you want. Most of us don't do that, so we're going to have an exercise about that a little later on, find out why we don't ask for what we want. But just notice how it is for you when you're deciding between the 2 cards what points you have. You'll find the most difficult one's going to be the first one because it's your card. After that, it won't be your card because what have we done?
Swapped it.
Yeah.
We swapped cards at the end of each round. Yes.
Can I clarify? I got confused if it's a statement or a question. So I started to write, I want to learn more about.
It's a statement, or it could be, how do you? So it could be phrased as a question or as a statement, but really it's a topic. We're looking for topics here. Okay, any other questions?
So the question, I'm a little bit
Any other
unclear.
topic? Quite, okay.
The question is, what is or something?
What do you want to learn today?
What do I want to learn
What do
today?
you want to learn today? It could be a question or it could be a statement, but what are you here for?
Mhm.
And then once you've gone to the next card, what sounds most interesting to you, most important to you?
Mhm.
Okay. And who can tell me like what the nature of the question is? What is it that we're looking for?
It's about what we'd like to learn NVC for, like a purpose or a...
A purpose, a specific thing that you want to learn.
Yeah.
So if you came up with, I want to learn about NVC, well then you're in for 36 hours.
How about
Specifically.
how to share NVC? Is that also too broad for you? Or if I gave a little bit more detail?
Yeah, give
you
us a
want to go
little
something
bit
in my
more.
life?
How to share NVC with my family.
Okay.
Okay, because I can talk 12 hours about how to share NVC.
Cool,
so,
that's-
yeah, yeah.
And we're all beginners.
Huh?
Are we beginners?
Or
Are we all
or
beginners?
apps.
No, you don't have to be a beginner, because I use this for all levels of training. Okay.
Yeah, I guess Pat needs to know, do you want to actually be really authentic about me now, what I want to learn, or if I were in your workshop?
Well, just go into character
Character,
and
okay.
do what that character would do.
Thank you.
If that makes sense.
Rather than-
I was talking, yeah, okay.
So statement or topic or whatever, or question on one side,
Uh-huh.
and then copy the grid on the
And
other.
then the grid on the other side. So, how many people need a little time to come up with their topic?
Yeah, just a little.
Okay,
30 seconds.
Okay. So just when you're ready, you have your topic written down, catch my eyes.
And if we've done the grid, don't do that? Just
Yeah,
go straight?
yeah. Once you got your topic down, then go ahead and create the grid just like this.
Blank.
It actually works better if you go horizontal,
Portrait.
portrait on the card.
Too late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You've already done
because you
that.
probably have
Put it on
really
the
good
card,
handwriting. You're
generous
gonna write
card.
nice and big, but the next person might write it so small.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, do we have to write the question?
On one
Question
side.
on one side,
Ah, come on.
grid on the back.
Okay, well, I've done that.
Okay, good. Okay.
Just confused about the handwriting.
Oh, yeah, just make sure that anybody can read your question.
Oh, yeah, that's clear.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
beautiful.
Mhm. What's that?
And the grid is just gonna get the numbers,
That's right, exactly,
yeah.
yeah. each line until you have 5 lines, so it's gonna have a number, 3, 6, 2, 1, 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Is everybody ready? Does everyone have the grid on one side and question on the other?
Yeah.
Okay. Please find a partner and begin. Oh, one more piece of the instructions that I wanted to talk about. Please do this in like 1 minute. This is not a time to debate. Go with your heart, 1 minute. Each of you get your question read and your score worked down. Please begin.
I would like to learn how empathy can help me forgive others and myself. I'd like to learn more about how to ask.
I've got,
Oh,
do
do
we
agree.
do yours first?
How many would you like to give that question?
So when your cards, if I can have your attention please one more time. Hello. When your card has 5 scores on it, then sit down. Okay.
But I'm not full.
Yes,
Oh, did I?
I'm full.
I'm not full. Okay, great. So I've got how to bring harmony into
Oh, it's such a fun game.
Oh, I like that. Well, that's the
I'll
thing.
keep it
I'm
to
going to
it.
start arguing with my partner. So, I think that's ordering it. Yes. People who don't have partners. So, 5 and 2.
Okay,
How does that sound?
that sounds good.
Great.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
35!
Wait. All right, you guys, give yourselves a big hand. All right, so now we're going to go on to the second phase. But before we do that, just how was that for you? I'd like 2 people to share with me what their emotional experience was going through this process.
Fun.
Fun.
Fun. But I didn't like it when I got my card back again. And I wanted a bit more variety. I seemed to get my card a bit quicker.
So this game is really good to do when you have a lot of people. Otherwise, everybody gets a chance to answer the question in front of the whole group. That's when you bring it into play. Okay.
Right.
All right. So, who has 35?
Oh, wait. Hey, I have to add
Oh, yeah. Sum up your card.
So,
Write down the total.
did numerically challenge?
Okay, we ready?
Okay.
Okay. 34, 33, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23. All right.
And it's mine too, so.
Okay, can I see your card? Okay. So I'm reading here, how to bring harmony with my family when there is conflict. So can we just shorten this up a little bit?
Sure.
Dealing with family conflict.
Okay.
All right. And, yeah, that was 23. So while Vanna is writing this down, or you guys don't know Vanna, do you? Okay.
Hi, Ivana.
That's a quiz game.
Hello, Ivana.
Yeah. Okay, who has 22? 21.
I do.
All right, 21. What you got?
I got MVC for self-empathy and self-connection.
All right. Self-empathy, self-connection. Excellent. All right. 20. Oh, we got 2. All right, let's start with you because I think you were a little quicker.
Well, actually, okay. So this is how can I stop arguing with my partner? So I reckon it comes under the dealing with the...
Let's call it intimate relationship conflict.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I want to learn more about how to ask for what I want.
Yes, making requests. All right. So that means we now go to 19, 18, 17.
I got 17!
We got 2 17.
your American accent.
I do too.
Really?
You sound like a real Texan.
Okay. So this one,
They might let you
I
in.
would like to hear how. Oh, I love this. This one is one of my favorite topics forgiveness for self and others. All right, 17. 16. 15.
Yeah.
All right.
How to share NVC with family members.
Aha. Yeah. That's like sharing NVC with my family. And 14.
That was the 17. We missed the 17.
I missed the 17. Well, would you erase those? And no. Okay, this question is, how do I get my teenage kid to tidy his room and take out the rubbish? Who wrote this one? Oh, interesting. Negotiating chores with my teenager?
That's good for
Is
me.
that
Yes.
good?
Yes.
Okay.
There's one missing.
All right. Now, according to my calculations,
Oh, I didn't hand it to you. Sorry.
Ah,
I read it out.
But you did
there's
read
still
it
one
out.
missing.
Yeah.
okay, what number have you got here?
20.
20.
We've done
Okay,
that
there's
one.
one here. Okay.
That's Kate.
That's just
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's
yes.
Ivana's.
Oh, okay.
What was the
Doing
number?
well
Keep
this one.
going down. Okay.
Number 4. Give
10.
yourself another.
So I wonder if this, who wrote
There's
this
another
one?
one.
Man, another
10,
one.
9,
Oh my God.
8.
10, 9, 8.
7! You already had one.
No, but it's
No,
okay.
That's mine. That was mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
hmm.
Okay. Guys all must be single. This one is mutual support with my family, with my partner. Is that what who wrote this one?
You know,
Yeah. Is that right, or are you looking for something a little different?
support.
It says, how do I get my partner to look after me?
Yeah.
To look after me.
Yeah.
I think we need to take this person to a self-responsibility training. Okay. So tell me more. What is this about?
Well, you know, she wants, it's like you say, mutuality, right? Because she wants me to look after her, and
Ah,
it's
thank
about-
you.
it's about valuing my own needs.
Mutual support with a partner.
Yeah,
Cool. All right, so what do we got here? We got dealing with family conflict, self-empathy, self-connection, intimate relationship conflict, making request, forgiveness for self and others, sharing NVC with my family, negotiating chores with a teenager, and mutual support with my family, with my partner. So I would say that this, and this, and this, and this are essentially the same question. Would anybody see it differently? Okay. So then I'm just going to say this will be number 1.
Shall we colour code?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. So we'll call this topic number 1. And just so I don't get crazy, check off that one.
Can't really see that.
And this one, this is just for me, and this one. So this is number 1.
And chores with the teens probably similar too, isn't it?
I tell you, dealing with teenagers is its own reality. Okay.
Fair enough.
No.
I
Okay.
agree.
Now we got self-empathy left,
Teenagers.
making requests, forgiveness for self with others, dealing with autonomy, teenagers. And so let's just take them as they lay, because I consider themselves. Oh, I might need a lot of colors here. So this one is going to be number 2. And do you mind if I switch back to another? Okay, I'm just going to use this color. Making a request was number 3. This is number 4. And this is number 5. All right, thank you very much. Okay. So then I would, depending on what I'm doing, if it's an intermediate or advanced class, I would just launch into these. If it was a foundations class, then I would ask for a break so that I can figure out how I can structure these into my already established agenda. And basically I would be thinking of, you know, when we get to the principles, I just want to make sure that I keep an eye on this. And so when I come up with an example, it's going to be about family conflict as opposed to work conflict. There's no work here. So that's how you bring this into your training. However, intermediate advanced course, you know, and I know that they already have the basics of it, I would just launch into these topics. Right. Does that make sense? Okay. Thank you for playing our game. Any questions about how you would structure this as a trainer, how it works?
So just to be clear, Pam, so you would, if it's a foundation, you would just have them as topics to use for examples. And might you actually call on someone within the group to say, can you give me an example of that? Or you would just come up with the examples yourself?
So in a foundation class, I want to have a lot of management over the flow of what we're talking about, because I want to cover, you know, the basics. So I would go through my stack of games and exercises and just pull out the ones that deal with this.
I'm impressed that you have games and you know, that deal with all those specific topics. Sounds like an amazing resource.
Yeah, and I just want to give credit to Torsten Hardis, a certified trainer in Germany, who has a PhD in game theory, and we're talking about building computer games here, who has come up with this concept of very little talking, very little teaching, lots of exercises. People come back from the exercises, they talk about their experiences, and whatever words they use to describe MVC principle, I'm going to make a note of those, and I won't talk about observations, I'll talk about what really is. You know, just try to keep it in their language. This is building on strengths, basically. Did you notice how I was walking around in the beginning?
You mean when we were milling?
Yeah, yeah. Because I have noticed that, you know, when I print instructions and put them in people's hands, when I repeat each process 3 or 4 times, there's still confusion because people, you know, just because they're not used to doing this. So you kind of have to be willing to walk around, and when you notice that something's off, there's a very good chance that other people have the same misconception.
Yep.
Okay. And does it matter if they don't know ahead of time and numbers get out of whack? No, it doesn't really matter. Still giving us a pretty good indication of what's going up. So I wouldn't say, no, you guys have to start over, you blew it. No, it's, you know. And also the part about how you're feeling and what was it like to do this. At this point now, I'd sit down and talk about this some more, because I want people to notice how they show up, because I want them to participate authentically in all of the following exercises. So I'm going to take the time to stress the importance of what you're going to get out of this training is what you put into it. Show up. Okay?
My students at uni would understand that.
Okay.
Sorry, how would you get them to notice? I
Could
get
you
that you're saying
demonstrate
notice how you show up, notice whether you're nice or you do it.
Right.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And then you're saying that you would flesh that out further.
Yeah, I just talk a little further. I want to go back to the part where I asked you to notice what was going on with you when you were doing this. And I'm not going to embarrass you by asking you to tell me what was happening with you, but I just want you to watch out for some of the things that we do in our life and in our communication with our community that actually we think we're being nice, or we're just doing, you know, what people like and whatnot, and then we get distressed and frustrated because we're not experiencing what we want out of our life. And I want you to notice the power of asking for what you want, because that's a gift. That is a gift to people. Asking for what you want creates clarity, creates the opportunity to cooperate. It's endemic, central to the NVC process, asking for what you want. And later on, we're going to play a game about that. Oh, look, it's later on. Right, in this exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to explore the mysteries of making a request. Now, in making a request, one of the key things to understand about requests in NVC is that they're not about getting what you want.
Oh.
Can somebody tell me back what they just heard me say?
Requests are not about getting what you want.
Oh my God, that's shocking.
It is, I'm very sad.
Oh.
What's the point of it then?
Well, what is the point of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I want
the
my
point.
teenager to take the bin out.
What?
I want my teenager to take the bin out and tie
But
their
why
bin.
do you want them to take the bin out? And what you want them to take, my NVC principle here is that everything is about connection. And when we talked about observation, it's pretty clear that by avoiding any judgments, we're creating more connection. And when we talk about feelings, and it's not you made me feel, but we're talking about our own feelings, it's pretty clear that we're talking about the human emotions that are generated by our needs and our values. So that stuff is really clear. Yet still you can be attached to outcome when you make a request, thinking that the purpose of the request is to get the person to do what you want. And that very thing, that single-mindedness of purpose, I want this person to do what I want, is almost guaranteed to destroy connection. So why do we make a request? Can anybody guess? Everything about NVC is about making connection. Can anybody guess why we make a request?
To make connection.
To make connection. To make connection. Okay. We're going to talk more about requests, but first of all, we have to be willing to make requests. And so this exercise is about getting clear on why almost all of us are reluctant to make requests. Okay? So what is this part going to be about?
Connection.
Making requests.
Why we're reluctant to make requests?
Getting clear on why we're reluctant to make requests. Okay. So I could talk to you for about 45 minutes in one of the most boring lectures on the planet. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hand out some cards, and I'm going to ask you to write down on this card 3 requests. 3 different requests that you might like to make of another or of yourself. And to make it relevant to your life, definitely want to have at least one request here about family relationships and NVC. And I would like to have make sure that another one might deal with self-empathy. You know, I want to get some empathy. What requests can I make of myself? So make them related to our topics here, or about anything you want. It's not a rule. It's just going to make it more powerful if this all fits together. So write down 3 requests that you would make, that you would like to make.
That are hard to make?
Just, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter whether you make the request, you know, in the classic NVC, clear, present tense, doable, just request. We're just talking about the dynamics of asking somebody for something.
Of a specific person.
Yeah, this is a real request that you would like to make in your life. And write 3 of them down.
Can we go on the back as well?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can use as much of the card as you want.
Is anyone else going to read it?
Uh,
I mean, my
You're
mind-
going to read it over and over and over again. And other people are going to hear it
Yes.
over and
But
over
my
and over
writing
again.
doesn't matter.
Right. So
They were
would you
writing.
be willing to get dressed up in fancy tights and use this whip to make love with me? Might not be a request you want to make.
Oh, gosh, it's
Oh,
But good.
was number
Good. It's up to you.
And we're doing 3 requests?
3
Oh, I
requests.
need. Would you be willing to just give me a bit more time?
I would be so happy to give you more time.
That's okay.
In a large crowd where I can't see all the people writing cards, once I think it's been enough time, I'm going to say, who needs more time? Please raise your hand. Okay, can you finish up in another minute? And while you're doing this exercise, notice what's going on with you while you're writing down these requests. Just notice what's happening. Don't judge, don't criticize, just notice. What's your relationship with requests? So who would like more time to finish their request? Okay, half a minute to do the job for you? It's okay. Don't worry about your questions. Don't worry about your questions. Notice how you feel about making requests. That's the only thing that's important in this exercise.
Thank you.
So, let's see, a few people still writing. And of those people, I'd like to know if it's okay if I go on and talk about what we're going to do. You're done? Okay. You're okay? Okay, so here's what I'm going to ask you to do. And in order to get the full benefit of this exercise, I would really like to ask you to stick to what I ask you to do. Okay? Not a good time to have conversations. We've had some games and some exercises where I'm thinking you're pretty connected to each other by now. But just read your questions to your partner. That's all, just read them. Partner, when you're hearing these requests, notice how you feel and what's going on with you when you hear these requests. The person who's reading the request, same thing. What's it like? Check in with yourself. What's going on with you when you're making a request? So partner A is going to read their 3 requests to partner B. When they're done, partner B is going to read their 3 requests to partner A. It should take about 30 seconds. And then once you've done that, find another partner and repeat. The same questions, right.
Oh, so we're reading all 3.
We're reading all 3, and we're going to do it.
And no chapter in between. We don't say how it was supposed to, we just notice.
You just notice, right. What we're doing is we're getting a concentrated experience of requests, making them. Not dealing with them, but just making them. To bring to life what goes on with you around your relationship with requests. So, can somebody tell me back what I'm asking you to do?
Well, with a partner, we read our 3 requests. And while we're doing that, and then we swap over and I listen to my partner, and at the same time take notice of what's going on for me as I do that, both as I read and also as I hear.
Thank you.
And then we swap.
No,
You don't need to swap this time.
you're going to keep reading your
You keep
same
just-
3 questions.
yeah.
Same person.
No, next person.
No, to different. What you swap is your partner. You swap partner.
Swap partners, not cards.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So you're going to get 3 new requests with each partner, and you're going to get a lot of depth and experience with the requests that you wrote down. Okay, anybody have any questions?
Yeah. No.
Okay, please begin. Okay. While you're sitting, just notice. And let's answer this question. I'd like to hear from everyone who would like to share. What makes requests difficult?
Oh, there's attachment, and there's attachment in your voice.
Attachment to outcome.
Yeah. It's there, my energy or voice or.
Yes.
When they're blurry or murky or muddy, not clear, not specific.
Yeah, that makes it hard to hear questions, a request. So unclear requests. And we'll talk about what makes a request unclear in our next part. So what else makes it hard?
Sort of a feeling of shame.
I would be ashamed to ask for help.
Is this only in the asking, or are we also talking about how it was received?
Both ways.
Either.
Yeah,
Fear that the other person's going to get angry.
they're going to get mad.
Yeah.
Right.
If you say no, is that what you mean?
No, just asking a
Or
bloody
just
question.
asking. Oh, yeah.
A request. Yeah.
Fear of judgment.
Your judgment.
If I feel like I'm blaming somebody for being a bad person,
They'll think I'm criticizing them.
yeah.
Problem I have all the time is even when it's a request, people think it's a demand.
They'll think it's a demand.
So I'm worried that they can't say no.
Yeah.
My other big one is like, if I say no, then I'm going to get punished. Like I have to say yes, otherwise I'm going to get punished and cop it.
Yeah. So how would we phrase that? Fear of punishment
When saying no.
when saying no. Yeah. I won't be able to say no. I won't be free to say no.
Well, no, if I do,
If
I do say
okay.
no, I'm going to get punished.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I'll get punished.
Or shame about asking for too much. For me.
It'll be too much.
Well, yeah.
Anyone have anything else that keeps you from feeling
You
comfortable
just
making?
missed like, I'll get punished or shamed if I say no.
Oh, okay.
I'm imagining when somebody's coming at you a question, you suddenly have to cough a lot.
No, I say no and cop it, basically.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're a masochist?
I know. It's true, I think I am.
All right. I'm open for any more, if anyone has them. Okay. All right. So, now remember, like in the second 10 minutes of the training, I talked about how the greatest pleasure that any human being can have is contributing to another person. And you agreed that giving the Christmas present was more fun than getting the Christmas present once you were over 9. So if I'm believing that people get angry, or they'll judge me, or they think I'm going to criticize them, or that it's a demand, or that I'll get punished, or that it'll be too much for them, what am I doing to that other person by not making a request?
Taking away the opportunity for them to enjoy giving.
Exactly. So I would like you to consider whether or not by not making your request, you're being
A thief!
selfish, a thief. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. I did that a lot. I was a real thief. I didn't make requests, and it got to be so bad that when I went to my IIT, Marshall said, John, that was before I changed my name, John, the trouble with you is you don't ask for what you want. And you know what? He was right. I was happy to receive requests and unwilling to make requests. And when I saw that my request is a gift to the other person, completely changed my relationship to making requests. I'm giving them a gift. And now I'm so thrilled with making requests, I will sometimes ask people to do things knowing that I could do them with greater ease and closer to the way I want them. But if I ask for their help, then I'm creating connection, I'm creating teamwork, I'm establishing a foundation of relationship, I'm creating a community of mutual support. Whereas if I heroically, martially, say I'm just going to do it myself, I'm cutting off all of that wonderful opportunity for connection.
That's inspiring. That's really beautiful. I never heard that.
Yeah, it's so simple, isn't it? Oh. So just check inside yourself, and on a scale of 1 to 5, raise the number of fingers where you have noticed a shift in your relationship with requests.
In this moment. In this moment?
In this moment, in this exercise. Thank you. Thank you.
I've just got a half though.
What?
Half of me does, but it's the other half about how when someone gives me a request, like I want to be able to say no, and there's still, like I want to be able to say no, and there's still connection. So half of me is like,
yeah, you're willing to make the request, you're not so sure. Yeah, am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the most wonderful things that I've heard about NVC practice consciousness, especially around the area of request, is that in NVC ears, a no is a yes. It's just a yes to something else.
My husband doesn't think that.
So tell me like a request tell me how that goes for you, and we'll see if we can play with it a little bit.
Yeah, okay. So, remembering a time when he said, well, since you've been on holiday so much, when you come home, you better wash the windows.
So I'm hearing you'd like some support in getting the windows washed when I come home. Is that right? Yeah. You know, having to clean windows, I like that. That's a nice thing. But when I come home, I'm going to be so far behind in work that I doubt I'm going to have time.
You say that all the time. I mean, I'm here and you're away, and I really want you to actually support me. You know, you do this all the time.
So you're looking for some mutuality, some common support around chores like that?
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe we can dance with is when I come home. When I come home. Can we do this window washing? And I'm wondering, I'd like to tell you that doing chores like that by myself is kind of boring and tedious. And if you'd like
Because
to,
you're pretty lazy though.
yeah, I am pretty lazy. I need my rest and I need to relax. But if we both wash the windows together, it would be play. We could have a lot of fun. And then I wouldn't feel resentful and you wouldn't feel resentful. Would you play with me on window washing? On Saturday.
All right,
After
as
the
long as
kids
we
go
can
to the
do it
movie.
naked. Thank you.
It's a simple little thing. No one ever says no. They're saying yes to something else. And remember I said it's not about getting what you want. It's about creating connection. You just keep finding out what they're saying yes to until you discover a way that you can enjoy doing what they would like you to do in such a way that it meets your need not just for cleanliness or beauty, but for play, connection, intimacy. You can plan on splashing them in some water. Make it fun. Just make it fun. Simple. That cool? Right. Okay. So now, thank you for playing our game. Give yourselves a big hand. Now I'm just going to share share how I'm evolving my trainings, and what I want to share with you is how I handle, in this one particular training, the principles that we're dealing with. And what I've done here is my best attempt to use the fewest number of words to get the greatest amount of meaning across. And there's also a thing in training called the rule of three. Has anyone ever heard of the rule of threes? Maybe you could explain it.
The rule of threes is really about simplicity. The first time I heard it was in every good sermon has 3 points, and it's really just about simplicity and flow and chunking things down.
Exactly. I'm just hitting the highlights. Previously, I would try to say everything I could possibly think of about these principles, and people would walk away saying, "God, this is hard." But I don't need to say all that stuff. If I can get them in the principle, they'll discover all of the nuances themselves. So on observations, this is what I say. So we want to learn how to make observations without evaluations, which J. Krishnamurti says is the greatest sign of human intelligence, because we have this tendency to add stories about our observation. So you want to watch out for phrases like, "You always come in late." "You never do such and such and so and so." And instead, we just want to make a clear, concrete statement. One of my favorite ones was, "Do you remember the day when James was here and you came into the time we were talking together and started talking while I was still talking?" As opposed to, "Remember when you interrupted me when I was talking with James?" That didn't go down very well. So just what happened, not what I think about it. Because the pain that we experience as human beings is not what happens to us. It's what we think about what's happened to us. So in the observation, we only have one goal: to get the other person on the same page with us. So we don't want to do anything that looks like we're building a case. If somebody's habitually late, we don't want to define observations about the 32 times in the last 3 weeks that they showed up for things late, because all of this destroys connection. "Well, what about the fact that they do always show up late?" Well, you talk to them about all the times they show up late, and they will stop listening after about 12 seconds. But you talk about one instance that they remember and you remember, and you just say enough that they're aware of what you're talking about, is much more powerful. Because they will bring to the conversation all the nuances, all of the jackals, all of the drafts that they have. And the more words I pile onto the observation, the less connected to their experience they'll be. The purpose of the observation is to have them have a full experience of what happened then, so that we can dance with that together. So just the bare minimum number of words so that they'll know what we're talking about. Okay? All right, so then I'll tell you what I do next. Next time, feelings. There are 3 things I want you to know about feelings. The first one is that they are universal. Studies have shown that no matter where a person was educated, or how much they are educated, or what their job is, or what language they speak, or how their life is, they have the same emotional vocabulary. If we're talking about what happened and what's a good strategy, we got tons of room for disconnection and disagreement. But if I talk about my emotions, not how they made me feel, but how I feel, they know what sad is. I don't have to go any further than that. Just put it out there. As a matter of fact, the more I try to describe and justify it, the less connection we're going to have. Remember, it's all about connection. The second thing is that feeling your feelings, being aware of and feeling your feelings, is healing. if you don't bring judgment into it. Just allow yourself to experience the feelings, and you will feel better whether the other person gets it or not. And thirdly, feelings always come from these needs and values that you have. They don't come from what the other person is doing. If you let yourself think that they can make you feel some way, then you're an emotional slave. Okay? That makes sense? All right. So then we talk about that. And then needs. So needs are incredibly important in NVC because they're also universal. They're universal. Beliefs, strategies, religious philosophies, all that stuff we can disagree on until, the sun burns out. But we all have the same needs. The needs for love, for connection, for community, for learning, for growth, for autonomy. These are universal. So we can count on that. And that everything anyone has ever done is in the service of those needs. So when I can connect the need behind what somebody has done, I can connect with them, even though I may find their strategy for what they're doing very difficult. So we just know that everything that somebody has done, they've done in the service of their need, and then we can see them as humans instead of all the judgments that we otherwise might live with. And then thirdly, we live in a sea of needs. By living in a sea of needs, I mean, like, sometimes we just want to relax, so we take our ship and we let our feelings blow us to the island of vacation, and we rest and relax, and it's wonderful until it's not, because we're bored. And so we get back in our ship, and we let the winds of the emotions that we have carry us to the island of meaning. And we work hard, and we don't sleep, and we're so excited that we're contributing and having meaning, and it's really wonderful until it's not. And then we notice that we're lonely, and we want to go hang out with people. So we join a club, or go to a convention, or go to work somewhere. And it's really great to be connected with all these other people. For how long?
Until it's not.
Until it's not. And so that's what our life is like. We live in a sea of needs, so we go from one to the other.
And is that okay? Is that okay?
It's wonderful. That's what makes life great.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Since you described my life, so I was just checking that it's okay.
Yeah, how is it for you?
It's generally okay.
It's really okay.
Can give myself a hard time when I'm on vacation, though.
Well, when it's not fun anymore,
Okay, that's good.
get onto the boat and go to the next place. And then the last thing I'll share with you is in this training where I use these things. If I can find it, there it is. I'm just going to give you a rundown on what we do. I start out with observations, and then I have a prepared role play that I either do with a partner or by myself. I spend 1 minute doing the jackal show and 1 minute doing the giraffe show, so that they can really see the difference of what observations can do. And then I give them a self-evaluation exercise, and I ask them to work by themselves for 10 minutes, taking a look at how they observe and getting clear on that. And then I ask them to get into a small group or in a partnership and share what they've learned from it. And then I bring them back together in a large group and we talk about it. So I've talked for 15 minutes maximum. They've worked for 45 minutes, and we're on to the next exercise. The reason that I choose the self work, the partner work, the small group work, and the large group work has to do with the various different ways that people learn. Some people really need to go inside and explore their own inner thoughts to learn something. Somebody else is probably going to be pretty bored with that, but it doesn't last all that long, and they'll get something out of it. Other people just really want to talk to one person back and forth what's going on, and they don't particularly enjoy being in groups, but they get a lot out of an intimate conversation with someone. Intimate because of the nature of the conversation. And then other people, you know, they feel really comfortable if there's a group of 4 or 5 people and they can experience the points of view of other people and then add to that, have this little dialogue. And then finally, when I get people into a large group, then I ask for reports from the large group teams, the small group teams. And whatever learning came to the surface of the small groups gets shared with the whole large group. And then we take a break. And if you'd like, I can send something like this out to you.
Yes.
Like a session plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
I'm done. Yes. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the help. Great students.